All right. Welcome back to the Forest Brothers podcast. It's your boy Muta Chris Don, joined by my two brothers, Nkosi and Samson. What's goody, brothers? So, listener, today's episode will be concentrating on the transfer deadline deals that happened today on the last day. Today was the last day of the transfer window. It just closed. And yeah, we'll also briefly chat about Arsenal, Liverpool, and, all the other hot button issues that happened in the Premier League this past weekend. So, that is our episode for today. But yeah, getting started, obviously the biggest match of the weekend was Arsenal-Liverpool. Liverpool won the game 1-0. Not Dominic. Soboslai, I guess his name is Dominic. Anyway, Soboslai scored a crazy free kick. I don't know if it was crazy, if the free kick was that good, or if Raya was just positioned badly, but I think no matter what Raya was going to do, it was probably going to go in, hit the post, got in anyway. So I don't know how much more he could have done to save that free kick. Anyways, we have Samson here, or is an Arsenal fan. Samson, my first question that I want to ask about what happened in the Liverpool Arsenal game is, why did Mikel Arteta start Marino to play in the midfield as compared to playing Nwaneri or even Eze? Why were those two brothers not on the pitch? I think Eze got in at the the 70th minute or some shit, like something like way deep into the second half. Why was that the case? Because anyway, we saw Gyökeres again, the slowest forward in the Premier League. I think he had 7 touches all game. I don't even know how many he had. He basically didn't have any service the entire game. So I don't know why Arteta went that way, but maybe you might have a better understanding of what that brother was thinking.
Um. Okay, so it's two parts to this. I'll tell you what I think he was going for, and I'll tell you my opinion of what he did. So I think his goal was basically to make the game as boring and as slow and as just negative as possible. Just nullify Liverpool and make sure they don't have any joy, and maybe win it on like a set piece. Ironically, that's how he lost it. So I'm not sure he's going to try that again. But I think that was his goal. And if you saw the game for the first 60 minutes, it sort of worked. It wasn't great, but that was, I think, part of his plan, that he just competes in the midfield. He slows Liverpool down. And Liverpool were slowed down. They didn't really create much. I think if you look at the XG and the shots at the end of the game, they're very similar between both teams, which is kind of a positive from the Arsenal side, because that's what Liverpool produced with their best 11, and that's what you produced with a somewhat weakened team. So it's there's some positives there, but yeah, in my opinion, he dropped the ball. This was the dumbest decision I think he's made all season. Because I don't think Mikel Arteta, I think he's still living in 2022. I don't think he realizes how good Arsenal are in their current form, because the Champions League run we went on without Saka, without Odegaard for some parts, without a real striker, should have shown you the level this Arsenal team is at, where even on our worst day, we're still a top 14, right? So if you just take Saka out and Odegaard out, you sign Madueke, and Madueke was killing Kirkis, by the way. So that was fine on the right wing. Martinelli has been in the most horrendous form, even from preseason. He has not played a single good game since the end of last season. He shouldn't have started this game. I think he should have gone for Trossard or Eze on the left. And in the middle, like you're saying, Nwaneri should have played. And I think if Nwaneri plays, and even if he's substituted with Odegaard at some point, I think we probably win the game, because I did not see anything from Liverpool that made me think these guys are a real threat. Now with Isak, that might be a whole different thing, but this was an opportunity, because Liverpool had some injuries as well. They're missing Frimpong. Their midfield was very shaky, even though they had Gravenberch and McAllister, which is their typical midfield. But McAllister went off early as well. So you could tell this was uneasy for Liverpool. They were not comfortable at all. Mo Salah was stuck on the right wing. He couldn't do anything with Calafiori. He was locked up. Ekitike, he had some touches, but he was also pretty much locked up by Mosquera. And on the left, Gakpo locked up by Timber. So it's you've locked them up, fine. but what are you doing to try and win the game? And I think that's my criticism, because I don't think Arteta realizes that this is essentially a super team. Like, this team, the amount of talent available, most coaches in the world would want to have this team. There's so much attacking talent here, and to not utilize it, I mean, it's really criminal. And I think if we end up losing the league or losing a trophy because of games like this, then I'd say he has to go for sure, because you can't play negative football when you have such good talent in the game. And I understand playing negative football if the other team is so much better, but they're not. No one in this league is so much better. You know, this is not 2022. It's not 2021. Man City doesn't exist anymore. Liverpool is not like that anymore. We are right there with them. We are looking at them in the eyes. So you cannot be that negative anymore. There's no excuse. And I just think he dropped the ball there.
Yeah, no, 100%. I was like, as a hater myself, I was like, what is he doing? I mean, at the end of the day, I know Merino is like your best striker, so you know he really pulled you guys out of the mud a lot of times last season. So I was like, maybe he thinks he'll do it again. But you also did lose Saliba. I don't know how long his injury is, but I'm sure that comes as a heavy blow. You know, Odegaard, I'm surprised he was back this early. So I don't know what on the Saliba situation. How long is he out?
I don't think they've said yet, but judging from the Mosquera performance, I don't think we'll miss him too much, because I don't think we have any like serious games coming up where, like, you know, I know we have is it Bayern in the Champions League soon? That might be tough, but otherwise I think Mosquera looks like he'll be able to handle himself for however long Saliba's out. And we also signed another center back / left back like today. So I think we're kind of sorted defensively with
Yeah,
injuries.
Piero Hincampi or Hincampi. I don't know however you say his name. I assume I'm saying Hincampi.
Hincapie.
All right. I've never heard about the kid, so but I assume he's all right. I assume he's okay. So I guess you do have some cover now. So we'll see. Last question, this Arsenal thing before we turn our attention to Liverpool. I was with some Arsenal fans watching the game. They didn't really answer, but I was like, at the bare minimum, what trophy does Arteta need to win this season? Bare minimum.
I mean, there's not really a bare minimum. For me, it's more how you perform. Like, if you don't win, it's about how you perform, and you don't win, right? So, like, for example, if we win every game between now and the end of the season and Liverpool literally do not lose, then it's like, all right, it's fair enough. Like, I'm not gonna get mad at that. If you lose the Champions League final on penalties, it's like, all right, fine, whatever. But if you get out in the quarterfinals, if you come in third, if you come in second, 10 points behind, then you can't really get away with, you know, losing both, right? So, like, you either win the league and come out in the quarterfinals, or you win the Champions League and you come in third. You can't do both. Like, there's no combination where you do both. He has to win one thing, one major thing, league or Champions League, or he has to go to the very ends of each competition and do someone else has to do the impossible for him to stay in the job, in my opinion. I know that's not how it's going to go, because that's not how the Arsenal board sees things, but as a fan, that's my expectation.
For me, at the very bare minimum, you guys need to win a domestic trophy. Bare minimum. Whatever you're saying, but a domestic trophy is Carabao, FA Cup, bare minimum.
I don't care about those. I seriously,
at the very least.
Look, if we don't win the league and win the FA Cup, I think his job is still on the line, because, like, look at the team. Look at the materials. I mean, what?
Yeah, but every other team around is also stronger, bro. Like, you can't. That's what I'm saying. Maybe you know. Thing is, I hate Arteta, so I'm never gonna like say he should stay at the job. Obviously, I want him to get fired at some point. But I'm just saying, like, that seems a bit too far. Because I feel like if he wins FA Cup and yeah, you don't win the Premier League and yeah, you don't win Champions League, at least you know positive. Because you guys haven't won a trophy in 5 years.
Crystal Palace won the FA Cup with their squad. You know, Manchester United playing negative tactics, playing for a guy they don't want to play for won the FA Cup. So like I don't rate these competitions too highly. Like that's
So
what
you
I'm
should be
saying. Like
winning them though.
he should still go if he doesn't win the Prem, or if he does poorly in the Prem and Champions League and wins an FA Cup. I don't think that's enough to stay, because it's a lesser competition, and how you perform in the big ones is what matters the most to me. So unless you're taking us to the final and you're pushing whoever wins the league to like 114 points, I don't want to hear an FA Cup.
Mangoro, what do you take? What do you think about Samson's disrespect of domestic trophies?
It's a very interesting take in the sense that if you haven't won trophies in a couple of years, I think you need to start somewhere before you get to the big one. You look at Liverpool under Klopp; they probably went through that as well. They won cups, and then they landed in the Premier League, Champions League. So you gradually build towards that. But Arsenal is built a bit different, and the fan base is built a bit different. They want everything, and they want it now, which in essence, from what they've spent this season, should be expected. And the trust the process year 7, I think makes sense. Like it's been a lot of years now. Because when you look at it, he doesn't have any excuses now. Every single player that is at the club, be it starting or in the squad, is his guy. He can't blame and say that's an old manager's player. Those are his players. So in essence, this is the season where Arteta must deliver something. He has to deliver something. And I don't know how he'll do that, given fine he's made squad signings to support the main things that have happened, because you saw Odegaard went out last week, Saka's out, uh Saliba went out. At least now he has good cover. Whereas last season, Samson, you can attest to this. If those people went down, the people that were coming on were just not too good. And we remember what happened last season. I won't dive deep into that one. But honestly, I'd say my thing is a cup is where you start. Firstly, and then you start thinking about the league and the Champions League and all of those things, because one thing we have to remember: Arsenal have never won they've won the Premier League, but they haven't won the Champions League. Number one. Number two, you look at the squad and you ask yourself, which player in that squad has some sort of like winning pedigree of being proven like as an experienced player of winning stuff. Maybe something you can let me know of someone in the squad. I don't know of anyone currently in that squad that you can say at an international front or at a domestic front, maybe in a different league where they carried their team. Because there will be those games, second half of the season, where you are 2-2 away at Bournemouth and you need the goal to take you back to the top of the league because it's going to be close. Because remember, at that point, when the league is now decided by the fine margins, why do you think players like De Bruyne used to do it year in and year out? Because they understood when it came to like from like game week 30 to 38 that they had to turn it up, because the fixtures would be the other team will play, they win, the pressure's now on you. You have to deliver. There's no room for error. You drop points and then they play again first. Psychologically, it's damaging. They can kill you, because when they play again and they win and they're now 6, 7 points ahead of you, by the time you kick a ball, you're already under pressure because you're like, we're now 7 points behind. So it's very difficult for them. I think they'll have to look. I'd say primarily a good season is win a cup and then go far in the the tournaments that Samson mentioned, the league and the Champions League. See how far you can get. Maybe lose a Champions League final to get that experience of we've arrived here. We know the pain of it, so that if we get back here next year, we know the following year we don't want to feel that pain again. So we know that this is what it takes to get here. That's my thing, because it takes me back to that other season where they had every time they'd score a goal, they'd concede a goal, and they were doing those huddles with Shaka and Odegaard. That season they were challenging, and we remember how that panned out. That's the first thing. The second thing I do wanna mention to all Arsenal supporters is getting too comfortable with the fact that Arteta, if he doesn't deliver this season, he must go. They forget all those other years. Because now, say for example, you get rid of Arteta, who do you bring in? Are you not afraid of that situation of going back to those dark times of Emre and all these other managers that they had and how terrible that was? So when you have something good in front of you, fine, it may not get you there at the time you need for it to get you there. It's about appreciating what you have at that point in time. Because also remember, Arteta's a manager who literally came from City's bench. He didn't have a dugout that he had coached in. So it's something to be aware of, something to be wary of as you call for his head and you say the season he must deliver everything. We haven't even played 4 games and already 3 key players are out. Like, how's he going to manage that? So that's all I'd say to Arteta and his troops there at the Emirates. Good luck to them. It's going to be a long season. Hopefully they do what they're supposed to do and they stop bantering us on the internet.
Wait, so just trust that a few things. I think saying he should deliver or else is not necessarily saying when June 30th rolls around and Arsenal aren't lifting a league trophy, he gets fired on the spot. I think that's unreasonable because whenever you let him go, you have to figure out who's coming in. And my whole thing is that if Arteta, and sort of the same way we saw, I mean, I don't want to compare it, like, 'cause it's really not the same comparison, but like, hopefully you get what I'm talking about. You look at Ange, the way he would coach his team in some games. If Arteta is consistently losing you games that limit you from getting trophies, that stop you from getting trophies, I don't think that's something you can continue. And I think then you start actively looking for a successor. If you don't find one, if you're looking out there and all you see is Ten Hag, then you don't fire him and sign Ten Hag. That's not what you do. You don't
That's what I was
fire him
getting at.
without having someone else who you know is going to get you there. That's not, so I just want to be clear on that. Like, you are more so evaluating or bringing into question Arteta's future if it comes to the end of the season and you feel that as a manager, he could have done more to bring you a trophy. Because the squad, as far as, because the excuses in the last few seasons, he's kind of done everything you can expect from him as a manager. He's covered a lot of cracks that the board and Edu, by the way, have left for him. This season, Andrea Berta has kind of covered all those cracks within the squad. So it's on to him. It's us, it's the board and the squad saying to him, hey, what can you do for us now? And I think that is where we are with Arteta, where it's like he's been safe. I haven't been called for his head really, like, at all. And I haven't really thought about his future at all. But what I saw against Liverpool, him handling that game with the players he had available, brought the question to me that, hey, if this guy can't figure it out with this level of talent, then you start thinking about replacements, because this is a lot of talent and it's not going to be around forever. So you have to maximize. So yeah, obviously we support the boy, see how he does, but we'll see. As always, we'll evaluate at the end of the season.
But oh yeah, can I also quickly add, because now you're in a situation where, say for example, just on this Arteta chat, you decide to move on from him. Are Arsenal fans prepared for a life where the board brings in and this is just it's not a story or anything, it's just my opinion, what potentially could happen. My 3 candidates that Premier League teams would probably go for would be, like, for example, if Arsenal were to replace Arteta, would be the guy at Palace, Glasner, would be Iraola at Bournemouth, or the guy at Brighton, Fabian Herzler. and then start a new project. Because I don't think like the Arsenal ownership would go and scout a manager from out there, not unless you bring in Ten Hag or you're bringing in Mourinho. And I don't think Arsenal fans would want any of that. So it's about also the availability of managers that are out there that can come and build and take this team to the next level if you do decide to move on from Arteta.
All right, and I'll just, again, just to answer that, it's not about, there's no projects anymore. The project has been built. The foundations were set long ago. The building is built. It's a beautiful skyscraper. Like, it's done. The work is done. Okay. If a manager comes in to replace Arteta, that manager is being asked point blank, what can you do with this team? What is your plan? You remember how Tuchel, when he joined Chelsea, he came with a binder and he showed them, this is how I'm going to play. This is how I'm going to use this guy. That is exactly what is going to be expected of whoever Arsenal talk to, because this squad isn't going to change. Bukayo Saka is the best player. Like, that's not changing. Saliba is there. Like, these are not changing. We're not starting again. No, we're not tearing it down. No. It's about, if Arteta gets replaced, it's about, can you come in and win? If not, forget about it. You're not getting the
How many years would you give the new guy? Like, let's say Arteta gets fired at the end of the season, right? How long would you want that new guy to deliver that first season, or would you like give him 2 or 3?
And who would it be, like potentially, hypothetically speaking?
Well, I don't know who would be available in 2026. Because again,
Who's that guy who coached Madrid? The French guy? Can't remember his name. Bold guy.
Zidane?
Zidane, yeah.
Honestly, no. Zidane does really not manage personalities. I like Zidane won while benching Bale. I'd hate to imagine that he just comes through and for some reason Ez is just on the bench the whole time and he scams. Like I don't see that. Like,
But you get your trophy.
like the manager that would be needed is a manager who like legit can get the best out of the players there, not someone who has his own like way of thinking and way of doing things, because that restarts a project, and that's not what you want. You want someone who sees what's there and makes something of it. But yeah, I actually don't know who would replace him. So I hope it works with Arteta, because I don't want to contemplate replacing him, honestly. Like it feels like what Liverpool have gone through with Slot is so hard to find. It's so hard that you find someone who just comes in and gets it. You know, like it's really a roll of the dice. So I hope it works out. I truly do. I hope that Arteta's learned his lesson from this weekend and he's constantly evolving. He has the players and he takes that next step, because we do not need another 5 years, man, of like rebuilding and retooling. We need to figure this out now. And hopefully he's the guy to do it.
You know, I just want to touch on the game real quick. Few things. One, Samson, you were telling me that Noni is a star. You will realize after 10 games that he's just very basic. I'll tell you right now for free. He was playing against Kirkes, so you know Kirkes. I've told you about Kirkes, and you're going to see more of him. But the free kick in itself, as someone who's been in the goalkeepers union, I think Raya could have saved it, in the sense that if you watch closely, before when the ref blew the whistle, he took the step towards that side. If he doesn't stop, he actually gets to that. Or he gets a finger on that, it hits the post or it goes out. It looks like a brilliant save. That's just my opinion. The fact that he stopped, it killed his momentum. Because by the time the ball was hit, the ball didn't stop, but he stopped. That was the only difference. That's what beat Raya at that point. But the game in itself, like Arsenal, they did do their thing, but I felt like it was more of a lot of passes between Declan, Zubimendi, Mosquera, and Marino, just in front of Liverpool. There wasn't anyone penetrating in behind or asking different questions of Liverpool, apart from Noni, who was playing on the right. I've been seeing this little hate on Martinelli online, and when I look at his game, yeah, I think he needs to be outside for some time. I think this season he hasn't come back in the right frame of mind. I don't know what Arsenal fans did to him, but he's just not the same. He's not the same. Like last year, he did well for Arsenal, like especially like the first half of the season, and then he tapered off like the second half. And in that game, like some of the memes that are even coming out from his dribbling ways were very, very funny. But that's besides the point. When I look at that was the Arsenal side. Liverpool, they were playing on the counter quite a lot because what Arsenal did, which was the Arteta way, is like, if we keep the ball, we're not going to be defending. Some sort of like the Pep way is like, if we're the best way to defend is to keep the ball, and that's what Arsenal did for majority of the game. And I think Liverpool were very happy with that. They wanted to just play on the counter with Ekitike, Salah, and Gakpo. Gakpo was more dangerous than Salah. Salah was nowhere. Verts, nowhere. I can safely say that. As much as I still back him, he was nowhere in that game. Ekitike, he had moments. The midfield was, I'd say it was disjointed. That's why Curtis Jones came on. And the defense was it was solid. It did what it needed to do. It guarded Gyökeres for the better part of the game. Because the runs, Funny was making runs into the channels, into the pockets at points in time, but then they were guarding him throughout. So there was a lot of protection there. I think that game, the way I saw it panning out, definitely, as I mentioned last week, a draw, but I didn't expect a moment of magic. Shout out to Dominic. When I saw that free kick and the way he struck it, it took me back to a goal I think he scored when he was still at Leipzig. Like, well, I think he's one of the best people, like in terms of like dead ball striking from like a standing position, because you saw the swerve on that ball. As much as I can still question the keeper, the fact that he got it up and over the wall in that fashion, kudos to him, man. That was a brilliant, brilliant shot, brilliant goal, won the game. And yeah, it's too early to say, was it a title decider at this point? There's still about 35 games to be played. There's Champions League, it's cup competitions, it's international breaks. There's going to be injuries, things will happen. We'll see how that goes. So it was a good way to get started, to see two heavyweights that everyone's stubbing for the title this year go head to head. We can now see that Arsenal have really closed the gap to Liverpool. So let's see how they go to the next level in terms of like next time when they meet at the Emirates. Will they be able to beat Liverpool?
I guess we'll have to see, because for me in that game itself, I know the vert stinker, as you just said. I was not that I was happy, but it just proved the point. Because last week we talked about the same thing. Like, yo, this guy, I don't know if he got it. And again, he was nowhere to be found in that game. And to be honest, a lot of them were missing. Even Salah dropped under the stinker as well. Like, Salah really didn't do much. I'm just happy that he didn't end up with that uh assist or goal that just comes from nowhere, and then people celebrate him like, he's still the king. Nah, it's like, nah, man, nah. You guys should have gone to Saudi last season. Like, at the end of last season, he should have gone to Saudi. Right now, what he's doing, it's not helping him. So, but yeah, man. To be honest, though, watching these two teams play each other, I'm still not convinced. They're not really giving me danger. Well, now that Liverpool signed Isak, sure, maybe now I feel like, but I don't know now, like, how it's gonna work with Ekitike and Isak playing together. Like, I don't know what formation Slot is gonna play. Like, is he gonna play them both? Is he gonna start Isak and then bench Ekitike, which I feel like will be a mistake. And even in this game, like, I feel like it was a mistake taking him off. Like, he was one of their best players. I think they took him off for, I can't remember what they subbed him out for, but
Chiesa.
I was like, who?
Chiesa.
Chiesa, right? Yeah, I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. Ekitike has been cooking. Like, he's actually like one of your best. So I don't know. I don't know what the plan is there. Like, now that they have Isak, so I'll be curious to see. But it's scary. It's looking scary there, Liverpool. Now that they got this guy, but at the end, they still. I mean, Konate. It looked like Konate is carrying a bit of an injury from what I saw in that game, and we also criticized Van Dijk. So I think their backline is pretty. The fact that they couldn't sign Gehi on the last day today, I think it's a major blow for Liverpool actually because they would have needed that guy. They would have needed him. But now that they don't, I don't know what their plan is gonna be at the back. So I feel like Liverpool are actually gonna be pretty open moving forward. You know, if other teams can beat the press and just as soon as they just put some pacey guys there and the left and the right, it's over. It's because Kirkes is easily beatable. If Nani could beat Kirkes that much, it means it's nothing for real. It means it's nothing that but yeah, man. So we'll have to see because I was just looking at the stats here. Liverpool had 9 shots and only 3 on target. Arsenal had 11 shots, only 1 on target. It was I don't know why they wanted to give us a boring game. I guess brothers were not trying to. I think they were all trying to go for a draw. That's what it didn't look like any team there was actually trying to win. Maybe Liverpool a little bit, but from what I could see, man, these guys. I feel like this is a time to be gunning. To like, yo, let's go for a 4-4 thriller. Give us that, man. Not this boring 0-0 shit, man.
But I think, this is the interesting thing about Liverpool. And I know Liverpool fans are gonna, spin this, but the question is it that they were going for a draw or they couldn't go for the win? You know what I mean? Like, did we actually see them try to go for the win, but it just didn't work? Because, just judging off those stats you rattled off and the performances I saw, I can't really recall a moment where a Liverpool player, I felt like, man, this guy's about to tear us apart. Like, it didn't really feel like that, really. So I don't know if Liverpool, because if you ask a Liverpool fan, they don't know how to play defensively, right? Like they're on out of attack all the time. So where was the attack? Were they not trying to attack? If they were not trying to attack, is that a new thing Slaughter's doing? If they were trying to attack, then is that how it looks what they're trying to attack? I don't know. I think they were a little poor, and no one's talking about how poor they were because they ended up winning the game.
The moment that really pissed me off as well was when we're gonna talk about Raya in a second, but when Raya basically just was like, you know what, Liverpool, you should score a goal. Let me just give you the best layaway you can get, and somehow it ends up in Van Dijk's feet. For me, I'm like, Van Dijk, you could have shot that, my brother. Why are you passing it? You're in space. The Raya's like, hey, I'm open. Just shoot, and I'll probably not save that. Just take a shot. And obviously, Van Dijk had other ideas. So that again told me, like, I don't know if Liverpool actually serious about this. Like, what happened to just taking a chance? I don't know if that was Harry Maguire. He would have probably just slapped the shit out of that ball, like toe poked it. He would have done something at least, even if it goes over. I'm like, you know what? At least you tried, man. You're in space. The goal's right open. Just take a shot, man. Why are you trying to do all this intricate shit? Like, I've never seen Van Dijk have an intricate pass in my life. Just boot it. So that's a moment that pissed me off a little bit.
I was very pissed too because Raya literally does that once a game and it drives me nuts. I don't know why no one has spoken to him, screamed at him, because literally every game we've had this season, he's done something like that once. And it's the most maddening thing, man. Everything's calm. He has options, then he just does that. It's like,
But wouldn't you say that's the typical passage of play these managers want to play, where even when someone's on your back, someone will pass you the ball? We remember you remember last week with Trafford when he passed it to the Spurs players and they scored. It's just how these managers are. This is the football they play, high risk, high reward, because they know that if, for example, I forgot who he was passing to, who actually fell on the ground there, and Van Dijk took the ball. It was, if we get this ball through from Raya to the player we're playing it to, I think it was Merino, and then he plays it out wide, and then we can start a counter. Now Van Dijk is out of position because he tracked the player all the way. That's what these managers are going for. And I do agree there's a time and place for that, but it seems like it has to happen week in and week out, because if it doesn't happen, you'll sit outside.
No, I mean, yeah, but also we've worked on that. And the way we do it, and we kind of did it 2 seasons ago really well against Liverpool. When they're pressing up like that, Merino and whoever the striker is are supposed to stay high, and Raya is supposed to hit them with a lobbed pass, like very fast through the air. He's not supposed to pass it on the ground. He knows that. He's done it before. I don't know this new thing where he's trying to thread the needle out the back. I don't know when because he did it against PSG as well in the UCL semi-final. I'm not sure if you guys remember. It actually led to, I believe, Hakimi scoring. It's so annoying because we've worked on that. That's not something new. We've worked on that exact situation. He's supposed to go long, and he does it. He does this instead every single time, and it annoys me, man. It
I
really.
Yeah,
hope he
there was
stays your keeper forever and ever.
there was another. That's actually interesting. There was another incident. I think that same first half where he played a ground like a grass cutter pass, and like to the left hand side. He was standing in the middle, and he played it to Calafiori in between Salah and Wirtz. And I was like, that is a very risky pass. If one of them intercepts it here, that was Salah taking a shot at an empty goal. But I guess it's just the coaching. Even his starting position, you see where he starts every week. Like, in fact, you get another defender.
I mean,
So,
again, some of those things, fine. I don't mind the starting position. Like, it's just like the passes. Some of them, like he has better options, and he knows that. He absolutely knows that. I don't know.
Nah, for real. Okay, yeah. I mean, I think that's a good place to end with the game in general. We'll see how these other two teams do. But just to before we close the pod, today was the deadline, as we said, for all the transfers, and we did see some big moves. Finally, Isak did go to Liverpool, so that was good for them. And then, so we're just gonna talk about other signings here that happened. So we saw Manchester United did manage to sign Lamens um from Royal Antwerp. So, they now have he's a goalkeeper, right? So yeah, so it definitely means Onana is out on the job. And I fear for my brother. I hope if I were him, I'd have tried to leave if I could, but maybe he likes to just make his money there. He seems like he'll be happy just to sit by the wayside and just let Bindier and this new guy just take the wheel. Take the
not
wheel.
necessarily. It's a matter of if you're. So this is my thoughts. I don't know. I think, and an honest thinking is like, yeah, sign these guys. Bandia is by far quite bad. Like we've seen in these couple of games, and he's now. This is just how I'm thinking. How I'm thinking about this is like, this new guy you signed. No one's heard of him. He's coming from the Belgian league. He's gonna come in and he's gonna make mistakes, and it could potentially be another Kinski situation, and then Amarim will be forced to bring me back because I'm not as bad as these other two guys. Like that's how the Onana's looking at it right now. It's like I'm the best of what's available. Fine, I'm not at the top of my game currently, but these other two guys, people will riot if they keep on playing them. He's playing the long game, and also as you mentioned, there's money involved, and there's no interest.
I mean, yeah. that'll be a risky long game. But hey, you know what? Kudos to him if it works out. And then so Sancho actually went to Aston Villa. Another, being loaned to Aston Villa. It's just funny how Sancho just keeps getting loaned everywhere, and like United are like, "Hey, my guy, you're gonna play here." But anyway, I think he will cook at Aston Villa. I have full faith in him doing well at Aston Villa. And then Spurs did sign on loan Kwalo Muweni. I probably
No,
butchered his name actually.
Kolomuani.
Kolo Muani. My
Randall
bad.
Kolomuani.
My apologies. Yes, Moani from PSG. Again, boys, winning the league. We are winning the league. Now we have a new striker up there. Him, Richarlison. I don't know what's going to happen to Solanke at this point. But hey, Xavi Simmons, Moani. You know what? Who needs Eze?
But
Everton. Yeah, what you say,
Bournemouth
man?
did fix the country this past weekend. Can you
You know
shed
what?
some light there?
You know what? Hey, listen, we'll have bad days in the office. Like it happens. Everyone loses once in a while. Arsenal lost, we lost, City lost. It happens, but it's not going to take anything away from them. cost of doing business.
Just 3
Everton
points.
got a roll as well from Freiburg, so I think that's good for them. Nottingham Forest, Bakwa from Strasbourg, and let's see, Leeds. They couldn't sign Wilson, unfortunately, from Fulham, so that didn't work out for them. And I'm trying to see the other ones. Gehi is one of the big ones because, again, we talked about this a little earlier, but Liverpool trying to sign Mark Gehi, deal fell through at the last moment. Unfortunate thing because they really needed him, though. They really did need him. So I don't know how it ended up not working out, but it's unfortunate because it would have definitely helped them, especially now that Konate is injured. So that's gonna be a huge blow for Liverpool for sure.
Apparently, the replacement that Palace was supposed to get for Gay, the center
Mm.
back, that deal fell through first. That's why they blocked the Gay deal. Because I think that's where the gripe was. Glasner, I think, told Steve Parish that I don't mind Gay going, but I need another body to come in, and you can't lose your captain and then not have a replacement. Like, you're pretty much undermining the manager. You've already sold Eze, and the replacements you brought in for him, I don't think Glasner's fully convinced with him.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. Okay, just to round them off here, Johan Wissa is a Newcastle man now, signed at Newcastle. So good for him. I don't know if he's back to fitness. I know he was injured at some point. I don't know if he's back to full health or not. But a good signing for Newcastle now, especially that they've lost Isak. So he's gonna be their front man. Aston Villa also signed Harvey Elliott on loan as well. So that I think they actually signed him. So that's a good. Aston Villa did pretty decent business actually. Good on them. Sancho.
Can I
Elliott.
call out Newcastle and Wissa for a second? In the sense that Newcastle on the side of Wissa is not a player who scored 17 goals last season. He's not worth 55 million. I'm sorry, he is not worth that amount. Fine, they received all that money from Isaac for Isaac. Like, he's not worth that amount. That's number one. Number two, Wissa and Isaac, the way you two have behaved this summer, I do not believe in it. Like, players should not behave the way that those two have behaved this summer. Like, you should speak to the club, get your transfer done early, and then leave the club. How come Mbuemo didn't do any of these things that y'all are doing now when he left Brentford? When he left, no issues, he just left. Some other players have left Newcastle in the past. They didn't do any of these things because now players then act surprised when they get vilified by their old fans because of how they behave. If you leave cordially and you don't leave the way that these players leave, like, you don't get treated that way. Like, when McAllister went back to Brighton, there was respect. Like, because he knew that he was leaving. He said his goodbyes and everything. Gehi, Gehi was literally scoring the day before, and he just continued like business as usual. He didn't throw his toys out of the pram. He didn't go on strike like these other players did. So I would hope that these fellow brothers of ours stop doing these things, because it doesn't paint them in a good light with their old fans who used to cherish them, and now they're moving on, and it paints like a bad blood between them and that new club, because now, I mean, like, the club's negotiating, because they'll have to do deals later on down the line. And this deal could sour some of the deals they may do down the line, because you tapped up our player, you sold our player dreams, and then he started to misbehave, and then now we couldn't control the player. Now we were forced to sell the player at the price that you wanted on deadline day. Because now, when you're Brentford, what do you do on with 55 million at 11 p.m. on the 1st of September? What can you do with that money?
That's
So,
true. Yeah, no, I also don't like how they've conducted themselves, these brothers. But a brother who I didn't like how a club conducted themselves was Chelsea, and how they treated the Nicholas Jackson situation. Maybe that's probably the final conversation for us to have, because, again, in case you don't know, listener, Nicholas Jackson is on his jet, on his way. He's obviously been frozen out of the Chelsea squad. He's not the main man anymore. Clearly he's not needed by Enzo. So it's like, you know what? Let me leave. And they're like, okay, you know what, my brother? We'll loan you out to Bayern Munich. He's like, where? thank you. That sounds good. He's on the plane, on the way. He's even hovering over the ocean there. And somehow, I don't know when Delap got injured, and they're like, "Hey, Jackson, you need to as soon as you land in Bayern, yeah, you need to turn the plane around, brother, and come back. We need you." That brother got notification in his phone as soon as he arrived in Germany, like, "Hey, by the way, you need to come back." And clearly he was not happy about that because again they'd iced him out, and now they're like, "Oh, we want you back though." So the saga ended now because Nicholas Jackson has joined Bayern, and for a season long deal, so he didn't get to come back to Chelsea. I still don't know exactly if he's gonna play in Bayern. Harry Kane is there, the greatest striker in history. He's there and he's killing it. So I don't know what Nicholas Jackson's role is gonna be at Bayern. To be honest with you, I think he just wanted out of Chelsea, but that's just me. But Samson, I know you had a lot of feelings about this Jackson situation. What did you make of it?
Yeah, I mean, it was just you can't treat these players like they're assets. Like, yes, to Todd Bowley, the the 45 or 50 players, or even I think at this point it's like what, probably close to 70 under Blue Coat, because that's the bigger company, right? Probably around like 70 guys. So you have to include Strasbourg. You can't just treat them all like they're numbers on a balance sheet. Like, those are people. Like, you did make promises to them. When you signed Nicholas Jackson, you did sign him and say to him, "Yo, you're going to be my starting striker." And he was your starting striker for a little bit. And the fan base did sell him dreams, and they did tell him, "You're going to be our Drogba. We believe in you. We love you." And then all of a sudden, he gets a few red cards, and it's like, "Hey, we hate you now, and you have to go." Like, again, and he was very okay with that. He was okay with being hated. He was okay with being let go, and he had found a new home. And now to be told, nah, because this guy's injured for 6 weeks, you have to come sit on the bench for 6 weeks, and then not even make the squad after that. I mean, the level of disrespect is ridiculous to me, because if you really think about what Chelsea is saying, they're saying come back and sit on the bench until October, and then go play with the reserves until January. That's what they're saying. And to me, I don't know how any human being, any professional, can look at that offer and say, "Yes, I'll do that. I'll be a good soldier and I'll do that for you." So shout out to him for sticking to his guns, and shout out to Bayern, because Bayern had to um, change the loan deal and say they will for sure sign him at the end of it. That's what actually pushed it through. So shout out to all parties involved. But yeah, that was a very nasty situation in my opinion.
I think that situation gave Isak and Wissa some resolve to see. You see what these clubs been doing. That's why. So I feel like maybe they're gonna use that situation as an example of, except these clubs don't actually care about us. So why would I wanna write for them? But Newcastle did seem to wanna do anything and everything they could for Isak. So I don't know if that situation, although he did say he wanted to leave, some gentleman's agreement or whatever it is. But I don't know, man. I don't know who's ever in the who's ever in the right in these situations. Do we support the player? Do we support the club? I actually don't know. Like, who's I don't know who's the moral.
We need
Actually, I
to
don't know.
we need to
There
start
isn't
flaming
one.
the agents.
There isn't one because in every situation, it is it's a 50-50. Like, I'd say you blame both because they're the ones doing these things. They're the ones that broke the agreements. And just to touch on the Jackson one, yeah, it was quite a poor one in my regard from the club side. I think such things shouldn't be happening in this day and age. I do understand that you do pay his salary. He's under contract. It's a business at the end of the day. That's one thing I think as supporters we lose track of as we watch these transfers happen, is that these people are running a business. There has to be money that comes into the business. And for them, this whole Jackson thing, to me, was handled poorly because you've frozen him out. You've treated him the way you've treated him. Fair enough. You told him that he's surplus requirement. You brought in your two new strikers and you don't need him. Fine. Let him go out. And if he goes out, great. And then you already have all the strikers on the books. Like, you can still sign other players. I'm pretty sure you're still good on PSR. You can still sign players because you ended up not signing Xavi Simons because you wanted to sign Xavi Simons and Garnacho. So you've only signed Garnacho, so the budget is there. There are players that are still going to leave in the next couple of days, such as Chilwell and a few others. So there'll still be more money to be had there. So you can definitely scoop a loan or somewhere. Or you also have strikers. Like what they did is, what did they do? They recalled Maki. He's going to be in the squad now. Uh, and then you also have a Mega at Strasbourg. He's your player. You could have brought him in for 6 months and then you could have gone back to Strasbourg afterwards because you just need him for this period. So the treatment of players, yeah, has been pretty bad, like across the board. But also the players also in terms of like the way they behave should also not be condoned because these are the people that took a chance on you. I think a lot of players actually forget about that. Like some of these players, like these teams took a chance on them and they gave them all this money. They drive all these fancy cars. They get paid over 100K a week. They're living this lavish life. Now they think that they're above everything. But at the end of the day, it's their livelihood. Who am I to complain about someone else's livelihood? If they want to behave that way, I'm just saying, like, from a reputation standpoint, it can affect a lot of things.
Yeah, no, for real, for real. Okay, just to finish off the signings, I think the last one was Man City did end up signing Donnarumma from um PSG and sold Edison. So that's the last signing. You know, Trafford did have a decent game against Brighton. He seemed to be doing a little better than other games, but I think this signing will definitely help strengthen things there at the back. And then now they can focus on other issues, you know, in terms of defense and all that hullabaloo. But yeah, I mean, a lot of good transfers this season. I'm still very excited to see how things shape up in the Premier League. I think we're starting to kind of see, you know, how things are landing. But I'm very curious to see how things will look after the international break. I think that's gonna be a good indicator of okay, who's quality here, because we're already seeing Verts is not quality, but we're seeing that Ekitike is quality. You know, we're seeing a lot of Mbuemo for United seems to be picking up now as well. So yeah, you know, we'll just get to see. But I think this is a good place to end the pod, boys. Anything else? Any last words before we jump off?
I don't know, man. I'd say for all the Arsenal fans out there, there's still a long, long season to be played. So let's just see what happens. And yeah, I'm looking forward to the main game. I'm looking forward to because we dropped 3 points today. I think we're gonna get those 3 points right back because I believe Liverpool are playing at Everton's new ground in a few weeks. I'm looking forward to them because I think we're gonna see those 3 points come right back. So yeah, there's lots of stuff to look forward to. So yeah.
Shout out to Chelsea. We won this past weekend against Fulham, our cross city rivals. We won 2-0. We're sitting in second. We just keep it moving. Nothing to see here. Just another regular day at the office. Another W for us. We'll see you after the international break.
Oh, good, boys. Oh, good. And with that, listener, thank you so much for hanging out with the First Brothers podcast. Do comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and we will catch you on the next one. Peace out.